Hey guys, today I will be playing Slime Rancher 2, but with one extra rule. If I die, the video ends. Now, I haven't really played this game before, only booted it up to see if I could run it, so I didn't really know what could kill me or what was even dangerous. The first thing I did was choose a Zubat as my loading symbol, cause obviously it looked the coolest. Not much to it really, that's why I chose it. Then, for some reason, I narrated the entire opening intro, even though I'm just voicing over it right now. On my first day on the, Slime Ranch, like the loot goblin I am, I immediately start sucking up everything in sight. And what you see here is the start of my morally questionable farming methods that I took from modern day factory farms. I then stumble upon a chicken and immediately, like the JoJo fan I am, start sucking any cock I see. Next I end up finding what I thought was a goldfish, but actually turned out to be a baby chick that I then tried to feed to the slimes that I had imprisoned. But they weren't really interested in eating children, so instead I let the chicks watch as their mother got devoured alive. Following this, I picked up my first plort, went to the market, and sold it. And with that, I had made my first $13 euros, schmeckles. Okay, what even is the currency in this game? With this newfound wealth, I decided I'd invest in real estate, so I bought some land for farming. Unfortunately, no one told me that I actually needed crops to grow crops. Conveniently, a patch of carrots was growing right outside my property, so I took all of them, every single one of them, and started growing my first crops, and fed the rest of my livestock. My next objective was to get a chicken coop, because, as Sun Tzu says in his book, The Art of War, you need to control the means of production to control the populace. Unfortunately, I was suffering from a severe illness known as being poor, and the only cure for that is to strip the land of its natural resources and sell them to the highest bidder. So, that's exactly what I did. I sacrificed more chickens to my pets so that I could sell their excrement on the brown market. I then did an epic trick shot into the market hole. Pretty cool. Following this, I went out to find more unwilling employees for my company. I brought them back and put them in with the rest, and ended up harvesting and selling their excretions. I then decided that I would adventure a little bit more and familiarize myself with the surrounding area. During this particular outing, I stumbled across the rabbits from hit Nickelodeon show Rabbids, and I wrote in the script, insert PNG of rabbits. Okay. After feeding my indentured servants once more, I had my first escape attempt, though I swiftly ended the one-man rebellion. I then sold the plorts. With this, I was able to afford a chicken coop, where I would breed my cocks for later sucking. Though, after purchasing the chicken coop, I then realized that I had fed all of my female chickens to my moneymakers. So, I had to go search for some female cock. While on my quest, I ended up making a groundbreaking discovery. I had found black gold gushing out of the ground. Though, it could have just been my sewage line that had sprung a leak. I remained hopeful. As the sun set on my first day on the ranch, I stared at what I had created and the horrors that I had inflicted on these innocent creatures. I asked myself, what gave me the right to own these living organisms? What makes me superior enough that I should lock them up and exploit them? Is what I'm doing wrong? After pondering this for an entire 20 seconds, I noticed that the first of my carrots had grown, and the thought left my mind entirely. I then decided to set off on my own into the night. While wandering around, I found the unholy amalgam of excrement and slime, called a Largo. This actually gave me an idea on how I could improve the efficiency of my farm. So, to get started, I rounded up all of the rabbits I could in order to execute the plan. I also realized that, lore-wise, Largos are kinda just made through slimes eating each other's shit. So, that's something. I then accidentally created one of these said monstrosities with my own 2 hands, and in the process lost valuable capital. I then got distracted for 10 seconds by a chicken. Doesn't really have anything to do with anything, just kinda happened. After that, I overloaded the plort market and became the richest man on Rainbow Island. And simultaneously the poorest one, but we don't talk about that. I then put the rabbits in the cage with other slimes as I didn't want their well-being to cut into my own profit margins. But not before buying a plort collector to automate the feces collection process, so I no longer have to interact with the lower class. I then go back into Jellyfish Fields in order to collect even more unpaid interns to print more money for me. I find some more carrots, which I greedily suck up into my souped up shop vac. I found a whole bunch of plorts just lying on the ground, so I decided to ditch the slimes in my vac in exchange for said plorts. And with that, I returned home to sow the fruits of these slimes' labor. After I got back to the summer camp, I fed the slimes and watched them eat their meals in silence. But then, I realized that some of these happy campers had started to wander outside of where they were supposed to be. So, of course, I installed a barrier to keep the walls higher and keep the slimes in. And with that, the dawn of a new day had arrived, and we had a few more escape attempts. So, I got to rounding them up. While doing so, I saw 2 of them trying to commit unalive, but as a good boss, I put a stop to it and got them back to where they belong. After this escaped attempt, I decided to go and find some more food, as the farm wasn't producing enough to meet the demand. However, due to the exploitation of the land by a past me, everything had been picked dry. I also picked up this Largo for some reason, and I genuinely can't remember why. Anyway, a golden slime of all things appeared, right in front of me, and akin to any man in my situation. The first thing I thought to do was suck it. And when plan A failed, I went into full panic mode and started throwing feces at it like a primate. It didn't seem to enjoy this too much, and it ran off, leaving me behind with nothing and taking its precious brown gold with it. Following this humiliating defeat, I was then attacked by a vicious tar monster and was inches away from losing my own life. Though, I was able to deal with the threat and come out victorious. After this thrilling encounter that left me shaking and crying in my boots, I decided that I would return home, sell some plorts, and close off the last escape route of my loyal employees. I then left my ranch to do something. I genuinely can't remember what I was planning on doing here. I didn't write it down. I don't know. But for some reason, I decided to continue terrorizing the local populace and continue kidnapping slimes. On my rampage through Rainbow Island, I found this chonker just chilling in a cave. Unfortunately, I didn't have any food for him, at the time, so I had to just leave him there. So I did. And after a little more sucking and a teensy bit of murder, I wound up on a beautiful beach, and I decided that it would be a great idea to take a skinny dip.